first want to start by saying that this is not a sponsorship. So Icy Sparkling Ice.
That's how he starts this.
You got to pay us to have your branding in this now.
All right, you ready for this?
I'm ready, bro.
Hello, welcome. This is Jay and Gus, but as I should actually say, Jeevan and Gusto. So we decided to make this show. It's called the Jeevan and Gusto Show, where we're just gonna talk real shit. We're gonna be authentic. We're gonna ask each other some questions. We're gonna get into some dialogue, and this is exactly how it's gonna go.
I want to start by saying, what does Jeevan and Gusto mean? Because like they're probably like Jay and Gus is what we really go by, but give them the story about like how Jeevan and Gusto was created, and like what does that mean?
Well, how it was created, I'm gonna let you share that. But the origin of it is, my name isn't fully just Jay. My full name is actually Jeevan Jeet. And growing up, it was Jeevan.
So see your face. Spit a little bit.
I was called Jeevan. That was my actual name, as an Indian guy. And Mr. Gus here is actually Gusto.
Yeah.
So then, how did that come together? I think it was Miami, wasn't it?
So your name's Jeevan.
Yes.
Jeevan Jeet.
Jeevan Jeet.
I'm Gusto. But what was the question? How did that come apart?
It came about in Miami. We were at the penthouse.
Yeah, so penthouse Miami Suite. We were in Hollywood, Florida. We were going to the 10X marketing and people's workshop with Grant Cardone. And I remember
HQ.
Yeah, HQ. And I remember we were talking about, everyone's like seeing Gus and Jay face value, but they're not really seeing who we really are. What we're doing right here is really Jeevan and Gusto. Who we really are as human beings and what we're actually doing in this world. So it came apart. I think we were out and about at a restaurant or something like that. And we were talking about when me and Jay are together, it's Jeevan and Gusto because we're out and about missions, going to restaurants, filming content like this, authentic raw shit. The stuff people actually want to hear about. This is what Jeevan and Gusto is, not the hi-fi Audi R8s, penthouses That's Jay and Gus, but Jeevan and Gusto is like the real who are we, kind of thing. So.
I'm gonna say right now, you're gonna get a lot of Jay and Gus. You're gonna get a lot of that stuff on the social media presences of the chains and the watches and the clothes and all that stuff. But always remember, the authenticity comes from within, right? Who you are as a person inner, and who we get to just be here, just as the brothers. You're like my adopted son. You're my younger brother. You're like head of marketing for my company. There's so many different titles, names that I can give you, but at the end of the day, it just came down to the brotherhood. It just came down to the authenticity between you and me, just connecting, knowing what was up, pushing in the time, effort, blood, sweat, and tears. And here we are after a year and a half. It's crazy.
Exactly. So tell the folks here that don't really know your story. Where do you come from? What made you want to come out to Tampa and ship your beautiful Audi R8 down there and make that
She's
your
beautiful.
home?
She is beautiful, man. I'll tell you right now, she is beautiful.
Yeah.
She's red, beautiful. Her name is Lena, by the way. Shout out to Lena. But no, quick story just about myself really is, growing up was interesting because growing up in Calgary, Alberta, in the mountains, living that Canadian type of lifestyle was interesting. Coming from immigrant parents that allowed me to live a better life for myself really inspired me to then, in turn, want to help the next generation. At the time, I didn't know, so I just kind of was going through school, not really, dropped out of school, really just getting involved in the wrong crowds, really holding myself back from my potential until it was mentorship that really led me towards a career in real estate that I was able to expand and grow and connect and make money from, pour that back into myself. But I still knew that I needed something more. There was still something more. And what it was really was the expansion of thinking, the getting out of my comfort zone. Because, being home in my city, especially in the last couple of years, even during the pandemic, to be honest, it was fun just being able to go around and still be able to be that guy, that hi-fi king of Calgary is what they used to call me. But it was it was never fulfilling. Having the money and having the time and having the cars and the clothes and everything was never fulfilling. And I was I had to do something bigger. Being bigger means I had to 10x my thinking.
Yeah.
So that's where, Grant Cardone 10x is so powerful because that made me understand, okay, look, I'm going to these conferences and I'm seeing this. Why not just move to Florida? But it was hard because I never really left my family like that. I'm Indian condition that usually I'm supposed to be the one to take care. I'm the only son in the house. My sister lives in Australia. Yep. So now I made that bold decision to be you know what? I'm gonna take that chance. I'm gonna move across to Florida. I'm gonna see how I can bank on myself and all the knowledge that I've learned, and most importantly, the ability to connect. I think if somebody asked me what my most powerful skill is, I would say the ability to connect with anyone, anywhere, anytime. Because that understanding of this communication, this connection, I tell you all the time, I tell the guys all the time, this is really what it's about, is human connection. So that allowed me to be here, and now I'm just connecting with more and more people, and here we are in Las Vegas.
Yeah, we're actually in Vegas right now. It's February 2023, and this is just the beginning, guys. This is just the beginning of, you know, what Next Gen Wealthy and the crown represents. And
so let me ask you, what is the crown to you?
What does the crown represent to me?
What does the Next Gen crown represent to you?
It means, I mean, you say it all the time, you know, when you say that crown, you see abundance, you see freedom, and you see wealth. You know, it's just like the McDonald's or the Apple logo or the 10X or, you know, whatever big logos are out there. You just know what it means. And when you look at the Next Gen crown, I see, you know, expanding your thoughts, expanding your lifestyle, expanding the people you're around with, and expanding really your entire life, the people you're around, what you're doing, your money, and again, like living your life abundantly and with all in all wealth. So that's really what it means. What does it mean to you?
I was like, I know that was coming, but I like the way you describe that, because among it all, it really is a sense of feeling. You know, that's where I think some of the most iconic brands have been able to take over market shares, is where they can actually create a feeling. You know, Simon Sinek always talks about it. He talks about the circle theory. And when the circle theory, you look at like the what, most companies know what they do.
Yep.
Then they get, you know, they know how they do it, but few companies actually know why they do it. So when you're like a company like Apple, for example, you think from the inside out now. You think from the why first, then the how, and the what is kind of really irrelevant because you're trusted. Now that's why when, you know, they have a brand statement, Simon Sinek does it amazingly. You know, when you look at Apple, you say, you know, we design great computers, they're user friendly, easy to use. Want to buy one? Yeah. Nobody's really gonna buy it. But when you switch it up and you go from the inside out, the why they actually are the best computer company, they say, we challenge the status quo by making the best computer.
Yeah.
You want to buy one? So when you're challenging the status quo and you're making a statement like that, your language is now allowing you to actually get somebody to be like, wow, I see their movement. I see what the next step is. I see like I could be a part of this. That's why you'll buy an iPhone, you'll buy a laptop, you'll buy all these different devices, regardless of it just being a computer company. Right? So the Next Gen crown is very important because the Next Gen crown, yes, it represents abundance, of freedom, wealth, these very core components, the three peaks to the crown. Mm-hmm. But what Next Gen is about is it's about a movement. It's about a movement of people that are taking control of their own life, that are understanding the thoughts that go up here, the internal self-talk that sometimes is killing, and it's killing our generation. I'm telling you, it's killing the next generation. Yeah. The suicide rates are going up, fucking shit is getting out of hand, and nobody's taking it into control, that we have to start teaching people a little bit more on this. How emotions are, how we want to actually interact in this world, how we want to be able to connect so that we can feel belonging. So we can bring those, you know, the oxytocin and the serotonin back in. And I think understanding that and bringing that kind of wholeheartedly back to the point of just the connection we have with people allows us to understand the Next Gen crown is a symbol. It's a symbol now for people to represent that I'm learning the right mindset. I'm honing in on my communication skills. I'm being able to, you know, create energies around me and actually truly help people in this world. Yeah. So it's a movement of people, but the crown, yes, will always represent, because when you represent that crown, your aim in life is to live your life with abundance, freedom, and wealth. And if that's your aim, the crown's for you. I
love that. I love that you know, explained that in so much detail, especially for the people on this, you know, watching this right now. They don't really understand, you know,
I forgot we're on cameras.
Yeah, really. But the people watching, you know, Next Gen is a movement. It's taking, you know, from when I first met Jay to, you know, where I am now in Las Vegas, going to 10X Growth Conference and scaling my detailing company from $10 an hour to $1,500 a day at just 16 years old, all from this guy right here. He was like, Gus, do this, and this. And I was like, okay, let's do it. He actually saved me one time. You know, I remember one time, you know, I don't want to say no names because it's going to, you know, bring up some beef, but you know, some marketing agency reached out to me. They're like, you know, we gotta get your branding right. You know, you're looking for more sales. We gotta get your name out there. We gotta get some logos, some PDS, blah 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 blah. $4,000 contract, $2,000 down, $2,000 at the end. I was like, Jay, like, this is what I got into. He's like, bro, you are the stupidest motherfucker ever.
Didn't say it like that. But yes, continue.
So then, he actually helped me try to get the money back, and all in all, I lost my $2,000. But the one thing that I really needed to do was just what Jay talks about all the time: your signature talk. He's been through 10x stages, the entire 3 steps they do in their program, but it really comes down to the way that you can articulate your message confidently and clearly to the audience or the customers or the prospects. And that's what really led me to go scale my detailing company in a matter of 3 months to $1,500 a day at 16 years old in little small Delaware, wherever I was. It was just a matter of going and knocking on doors, finding clients, and telling them what I do confidently and clearly to the audience. And it was really that fast it happened. But before we move on to anything else, you mentioned one thing that I wanted to touch on was emotional control. This next generation, when I was 14, 15 years old, all I remember doing is typing up on Google and YouTube how to make money online. How to make money online, how to become successful, how to do this, how to do that. I had no confidence, no communication skills, no money, no experience, no friends, no mentors, and that's when I came in the picture with you. But over time, I started learning this thing called emotional control. And you've experienced how great my emotional control is in some circumstances. But when it comes to this next generation, emotional control is actually dangerous in some facts, in situations. So touch more about like how emotional control is hurting this next generation and how we can help build this next generation and build that emotional control which we all need.
Well, you said it's emotional control, but it's the lack of emotional control. We're so fixated now on social medias, on cell phones, on all these devices and all these people that are trying to give us guidance, but we're not actually understanding what it's doing to our brains. We're not actually understanding every time you're swiping up. It's just like how we're in Las Vegas, right? The casinos. You're sitting there and you're pressing a button, hoping that the thing clicks and it hits a bang, and then you get the whole rush and then you feel great, but then you're also $500 in the hole. So the same thing is happening with your actual dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin levels.
Yeah.
Like you're gaining the dopamine when you see a funny clip and you're like, whoa, I'm online. And then all of a sudden now it's a drag. It's like, oh, 2 hours have gone by and I haven't done anything. Now you feel like shit, right? You're creating that. That's the emotional control that you're talking about. That's the emotional control that this generation, unfortunately, is not working with. The previous generation, they just got to work hard. They just worked really hard. They go to work, they come back, they saved a lot of money, and it just worked. Yeah. Our generation, because our generation is so tech savvy now, like technology is our business. We can be calling people, texting people. People are making global businesses with just devices at home. Just like you searching up, how to make money. This is a dopamine rush.
Yeah, I know.
You're seeing it. You're like, oh my God, they're going to teach me how to make $10,000. You know what $10,000 could do to my life? $10,000 a month? That could drastically change my entire life. But then you're just getting into a funnel, you're getting through a process, and then all of a sudden you buy a $500 course that's supposed to teach you something and it never does.
Right.
So emotional control is, yes, on the face value like that, to your brain, dangerous.
Yep.
Now this is where we get a little bit deeper now, because I'm going to go real with you. That was the point of this. You told me to go real, man. Now I'm not going to go politically correct like, sometimes we have to do with our beautiful YouTube videos, which is, I'm getting obsolete on that too, man. I'm changing that bullshit up. Because I don't need I want to be authentic like this. I want people to hear the real shit, because emotional control is now, it gets dangerous. Because on the face value now, you just see it as social media and the way that now, okay, there's certain things that are happening and certain chemicals that are igniting. But now we also use it as a weapon. We use it with cyberbullying. We use it with attacks and hateful comments. And that now is creating a whole new spin of mental illness, mental thoughts, especially in the younger generation. When my teens talk to me and they're waking up and they're feeling fucking depressed.
Yeah.
They're feeling fucking anxious.
Yeah.
They're feeling these emotions, they're thinking these things, and luckily, because they're working with me and they can feel supported and the comfort from me, they're actually feeling like, I want to quit. I had one of my guys tell me, he's like, I think I'm gonna quit. And I'm like, what? How are you that young? How are you 20 years old and you want to quit? How? And that's where it's fucking dangerous, because nobody's teaching this. Nobody's teaching what's actually needed to help the next generation. To not just equip them with just more technology, right, but to really actually teach them real connection skills, communication skills. Get them in groups where they feel comfortable. Let them decide. Give them responsibility. They're quick. They're smarter than we could have ever been in our generation. I'm still Generation Y. They abolished us, and that's a whole different topic. But you know, at the end of the day, we still are millennials, and even the Gen X's and the Boomers. That was a whole complete generation. What's happening now with your generation is that y'all are waking up every morning with an image of what you want, which is okay because it's like a vision board, but you're doing it in a way that's not the right energy and intention towards it. It's, I want to make money because I think money's going to solve everything. And it's going the wrong way without learning the hard work and dedication it takes. Because y'all think smart, but there's a lot of things that the previous generation has gone through. The heartaches, the fucking bullshit, the hard work and grind every single day. And they sometimes do, like, and which is wrong of them too. They sometimes look at your generation and they go, and they can't even do it. They can't even cook for themselves or Uber Eats, and they're making fun of you guys. But technology wise, why would you not? Why would you have to cook if you can click a button? I do understand, like, there is a different perspective on it as well too.
Right, fair enough.
Right? Technology has still enhanced our lives where we don't have to focus on certain things like that, where we can become more efficient, we can accumulate more wealth, we can set up our next 5 generations that our previous, generation couldn't do. So all in all, I think the danger, going back to your question, because I do want to get to that, I feel is the danger. The danger is the lack and the inability of this education system to take part in this. Because people are going out and doing things like suicide, school shootings, things that are not incredible.
Crime rates.
Just it's fucking mind-boggling.
Yeah, right.
Mind-boggling on what's happening, and the only way that's gonna repair and be able to be corrected is not by arresting them and putting them into jail cells and stuff. Yes, people need help, but the help is just really mental clarity. So it all comes down to the mental clarity.
And how can we help this next generation actually, build emotional control? Because like you said, it's causing school shooters, it's causing suicides, it's causing crime rates to go up. Emotional control is dangerous in men. So how can we fix that?
Yeah, it's crazy how the statistic is actually switching now. Like, it's men especially young men. That's crazy. Suicide rate is what I don't know the percentage off the top of my head, but I'm telling you, it's in America. It's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know what it is either.
But ultimately, rephrase your question.
How can we help this next generation build emotional control?
Emotional control, especially for the next generation right now, is focused on solely making them feel comfortable. They don't feel comfort the way that we used to feel comfort. They feel comfort independently. We felt comfort coming home. So that's one massive thing that I feel is the quickest way to grow emotional intelligence for the parents first, because that's where it starts. Y'all have to understand that they're quick, they're fast, they're independent. They want that. They're gonna remember when you were that young? Think about it. Of course we wanted what we wanted, but again, our wants were different at that time. It was like, I want to go out to the movies with my girlfriend. Please, can I go out? It wasn't like, I'm gonna go travel across the world. So there's a very big difference. So the independence is the first thing. For the young folks though, one thing I'll say about emotional control is you have to go out there and find communities. You have to find people that are actually having these types of conversations. There's a lot of bullshit out there and a lot of people selling you the American dream or selling you what the next step is, but it's not about selling you anything. It's about who's willing to have an actual connection with you, who's willing to actually communicate with you, who's willing to actually sit there and listen to you. That's the people that you want to be surrounded with. That's the people that you need to associate yourself with, because you will be a byproduct of the energy and the environment that you stand in. And if you're in that position where you say, I literally have negativity all around me, then that is the hardest position to be in. But just know you're already at rock bottom, so the only way to go is up. So you got to be that beacon. You got to be that beacon in your city. You got to be that beacon in your community. You got to be that beacon for your family. And you got to push it out. You got to light it so fucking bright that you can help others along the way and bring them as well too.
Yeah. That's fire, bro. So there's been a lot of attacks on men recently. The educates of the world, and literally everywhere in the society now is shaming men. And it's so hard now because men are being attacked because they can't emote. Mm-hmm. They're not allowed to do certain things because it's not manually enough for them. But why can't we bring them back to the traditional systems? Why can't we bring back, a man being the head household and actually protecting his family? Why can't we bring back, him providing for his family? And what was the thing you heard the other day?
Yeah. I was gonna get to that, but let me just start off by saying, let me answer your question. You want to know why? Why men can't go back to that?
Why?
Because half of them are pussies. That's why. I'm point blank telling you right now. It's fucking sad. It is sad how lazy fucking men have gotten. I'm telling you right now, boys, not even men now. I'm gonna consider them boys. And I'm saying boys that are married with children at home. Like, you cannot just fucking expect to just sit there and be like, oh, it's just Sunday football and I'm just gonna have my beer. Like, babe, get me a beer. Like, we've lost our own position. We've lost our own position because we one thought at a time. Oh, beer is good. I gotta go watch my game. Yeah. You know how many thoughts these women are thinking in their head? You know the shit that they have to deal with? I am a very, very big advocate for women empowerment because I know I'm a mama's boy, of course. At the end of the day, no matter what happens. And both of us are. We resonate well on that. Yeah. But I'll tell you, it's like men are in a position right now where we let it go. We let them do it. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the women empowerment movement. I love how they're independent. We all are equal. All humans are equal. It doesn't matter what color you are, what gender you are, but it doesn't matter. The point is that you still gotta have your power though. You still gotta be the lion, like you said. You know what the lion, like, I get we can be a little bit lazy. You know the lion in the kingdom. So the woman lion, like the lioness, is the one that actually goes and hunts. She's the one that goes and hunts for the babies and everything like that. Can you believe that? The lion's job is to protect.
Like in real life?
That's 100%. Well, the lion is an attacker. He's an attacker. So he goes and he protects and puts a territory around the lioness so she can go kill animals to feed the babies. So what he does is his roar is at such a high decibel that it scares the whole jungle. So he puts a nice little, like a huge force field around. That's all he does, then he just sits there. But the thing is, he has the voice and the power that any animal in that kingdom is not going to come close. They know that the lion's close, and then when the lion goes quiet, because he'll just roar for hours and hours while she's hunting. Roar, lay there, roar. But when he goes quiet, that's when the animals get scared. Because when he goes quiet, that means he's on the prey. And if anybody comes close to his lioness and his baby cubs, whew, I wouldn't be fighting that lion if I was you.
So what was the thing it was about men. About men.
So I saw this post the other day, so I'm scrolling and it's like, men are the only ones that are unconditionally loved.
Yeah.
I was like, or not unconditionally loved.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? Hold on, let me click on this. And then I looked at it and I was like, okay, well, look at like pets, like dogs and cats. They're unconditionally loved. Who couldn't love a little puppy dog or like a little kitten or like, oh my God, right? Then you have a baby. You look at a baby, oh my. Regardless of how some of these babies kind of look a little funny, but I'll tell you, regardless of that, you're unconditionally going to love that baby no matter what happens. Then it said women. And that's when I was like, ooh, now this is going to get controversial because it's obviously the topics. But then it was like, if you think about it, and this is something that you and I can attest to right now, we've already admitted it, is that every man will unconditionally love a woman because he came from one. You'll always unconditionally love your mom. And I was like, damn, they caught me on that one too. Because I was like, okay, now you got me. And then it was men. Men are only unconditionally loved when they provide something. Interesting.
That's actually very interesting.
That is interesting. And that's why I'm saying we've lost our own power. We can't blame anything else or any other thing. We just now need to know that we still have that power within us. We may have just dimmed a little bit of the fire, and some of us may have put it out, but it can be reignited. And that's why, really us working on even, talking about these types of these themes and topics and being able to actually open the awareness. And that's what we're doing with our Lions Den private club. Right, our Lions Den private club is really just designed for just finding the most powerful men and putting them into a room together.
Yeah.
And that's because we have to be so raw all the time. And you said it, the emotions, right? We have to be all raw all the time, and we got to be head of the household. We got to do all this. But sometimes we like to be vulnerable too. We want to be emotional, but we're so good at suppressing our emotions. We call the women more, but we're like, why do they have to be so emotional? They're so emotional all the time. It's because you're just good at suppressing your shit. That's what it is. You're just good at suppressing yours because beer is good, I'm guilty for it. I'm 100% guilty for it. So thinking about that is like now really start to get now what the next step is for you to reignite that power, that roar inside of you.
Uncage your roar.
Yeah.
That's his signature part. He calls it uncaging your roar. I like that.
That's it. And that's where it came from, right? Because I feel like we are lions and we are lionesses out there and we have that roar. We have that that story, that experience, that feeling that needs to come out.
Yeah.
But we don't do that because we hold ourselves back. Our mindset stops us. We don't know how to say it sometimes, so we don't. And then energetically, we just kind of die out and say, I'll pursue my dreams tomorrow.
Right.
And I think that's just a flawed way to live, and I don't think anybody should be doing that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it, my man. This guy's like mind boggled. But this is the thing. These kind of topics and just overall is us understanding to just be fucking real. This is the stuff that I've been craving for and looking for. Because at the end of the day, like, this is not only just gonna get people's attention, which is the movement, but it's also the authenticity that we keep talking about. Everyone is so afraid to do this. Everyone's so afraid to just be themselves and actually speak. And that's why even when we just finished talking about Engage Raw, I want to take that point to even a little bit further. It's like, we're just so scared. This fucking fear, I don't know what it is, this fear that's driving us crazy.
It doesn't even exist. That's the funny thing.
Like,
it doesn't even exist.
Somebody's gonna see me on the post, somebody's gonna hate on me, I understand that it must suck, but it's like, what are you willing to do?
Yeah.
What are you willing to do? What do you want to do? I had a young guy on the phone with me the other day, and he was just like, look, man, I don't like this social media stuff. I don't want to be on social media. And I was like, then don't. But everyone's telling me that I got to get an Instagram account, and I got to be on social media, and I got to post myself, and that's the way that you become famous, and that's the way you become rich. And I was like, whoa. Let's stop here for a second. Look, everybody's telling you what you need. Nobody's asking you what you want. So what do you want? And he stopped. And he thought about it, and he was like, what do I want? And right there, I could just tell. I was like, nobody's even asked him that question before.
Yeah.
What do you want? What? How?
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
We're in a world right now where we're so conditioned to being like, you need this, or come join my program, or I'm going to sell you this because I have the best trick, or I have the best 3-step process, or come to my next event. All this stuff is great because I love the empowerment of coaching. It's the wave of the future. Education systems needed to evolve. They couldn't do it. Institutions couldn't handle it. Now they're still trying to give away 8-year freaking degrees that make no sense with $150,000 debt attached to it.
Yeah.
Like, a real life entrepreneur nowadays would be like, that's just ridiculous. I would never take that return on investment in a million years. But then you also now on this side, you have the coaching industry now that's taking a whole new toll on the way that now you are educating. So now I can work with you one-on-one, I can mentor you, I can coach you through my experience, and you're willing to pay me directly. Everything's become a 1v1. You look at companies like Uber. Uber is one of the biggest car companies without owning any vehicles. You look at Airbnb, one of the largest real estate companies, owns no real estate. You look at Alibaba, one of the biggest manufacturers in the world, doesn't own any products.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like, think about it. Amazon would be also up there. Amazon now is all FBA. So guys like you and me own our own stores on Amazon, and we make money out of it while they do everything, while they just support it.
Which is the store. It's like,
yeah, you know what you're saying?
It's like drop shipping.
Yeah, FBA, yeah, exactly, drop shipping. And it's like, when you see those types of models, you start to now understand the movement of where products and services and the way that people are actually creating movements, right? Like, this coaching model now, this coaching situation now that everyone's becoming coaches and mentors, there needs to be certifications first and foremost. I do get that, and I agree with that. The curriculum system needed to step in, the academic systems needed to step in and curricumize it. That's what they should have done, but they're way too late to the game now, because I can go out and charge $50,000, and buddy there with zero experience can go and try to also charge $50,000. Yeah. And I've now spent millions of dollars on my personal development, my education, my everything, spent 10 years doing it. He comes in two, maybe 1 year into it, but his social media is bigger and brighter than mine because he's put his money into that, and all of a sudden people are buying his program and going into his funnels, and now they're all of a sudden now buying his products, and they're not getting deliverable results, and all of a sudden now he's made millions, and people are sitting there going like, I didn't get nothing out of it.
Yeah.
This is the problem with the way that now our human nature is that it's good because we want to help one another and we want to coach one another, but we need to really start to understand how to quantify the results. There's too many people that are out there that are trying to coach and trying to do all this kind of stuff and creating these groups without understanding themselves whole and complete. It's like that classic thing. What did he say? Don't. I think it was Tom Brady or was it Mark Wahlberg?
What did those quote?
What was the? It was the shirt off the back one. Which one was that? No,
that was the one guy, the Titan guy or something.
Yeah. What was it? Don't ever It was something like the point of it. What the point of it was, like, for example, if you're trying to advise me on how to make $10,000 a month or $100,000 a month,
and you haven't done it yourself, don't learn from me.
100%. That's incredible. You have these salespeople that are online doing this. You know what I mean? There's I can make you $100,000. I can make you $200,000 a month. You just need to do this, and then they charge $10,000, $20,000.
And they're done before.
That doesn't work like that.
Practice what you preach.
That's why I respect the 10x room so much. When I get into the 10x room, I know that I'm sitting there alongside in diamond front row. I can see that I'm sitting next to champions.
Richard Millie.
You know what I mean? Like, but that, not even that. You can just see how humble they are.
Exactly.
Like, even though we wear our jewelry and we do our fun stuff and we like to sit front row and it costs $20,000, we come there and we're connecting with one another. We're still in that room with positive and pure intention to be business and actually like run it forward, right? Intention is what this generation is also lost in, and it needs to really be what is the actual intent of why you do things. They always talk about your why. What's your one why? Why do you have one why? Why everything? When you get up, quantify it. Why am I doing this? Because of this. I'm getting up because I want a future. Okay, good. Get up. Why am I making this video right now? Okay, it's my intention. What's my value add to my audience? What would they receive if they got to see that and actually get something out of it so that they could learn and grow themselves? Right? Ask yourself why every single day. Get that intention clear. If that intention clear gives you the clarity. The clarity then gives you the action. The action then gives you the result. It's just that simple.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy nowadays, man. It's crazy. So, I've been asking you a lot of questions. What questions do you have for me?
Oh, let's do this. I like this. I want to start off with something simple. What do you think the most pivotal moment in the last year has been for you? Just the one moment. I know there's been a lot of cool things and a lot of like adaptation and moving, but what was just that one moment that just went light switch on?
Does it have to be the last year?
Or like just like since we've
like ever? Or like working with you?
Yeah, just working, just like being in an environment like this. Since the first time you went to the 10X real estate summit. First time you were exposed to 10X, me, everyone, all this.
I think the most pivotal moment of my entire life was actually making an investment into myself. And that, my first investment was going to 10X.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
To get that, to be in Miami.
Right, because I always, when I was 14, 15, I was telling you the story the other day, like, I always knew that from a young age, I always knew that I wanted to become someone successful, have these amazing things, and have the lifestyle, have the